Now it's time for today's perspective on the programme. We're going to start perspective today by playing you a clip. This is from exactly a year ago. Have a listen.
The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first.
So, with those words, then Donald Trump ascended to the presidency of the United States for a second time, of course, exactly a year ago today. His opponents, of course, say his first term was difficult enough, but even they perhaps were not prepared by what has followed over the last 12 months. Well, we're going to digest this all, if you like, with US domestic politics and US foreign policy specialist Laurie Dundon, who joins me here in the studio. Thanks very much for coming in and talking to us today, Laurie. In your words, I mean, how on earth, or how do you sum up the last 12 months?
Faster and more shocking than we even expected, and we expected this to come and a upheaval to come as soon as we saw he was reelected, and as soon as we heard that inauguration speech. I mean, he's talked openly about America first for years. He's the golden age theme that you just played, isn't particularly shocking. This is Trump's mindset. The historical legacy he will leave and how he can upend both how America functions internally and how it's seen in the world. And that's why he doesn't hesitate to go big, whether that be tariffs, talking about 200% now, tariffs here in France on wine and champagne, or, any of his other negotiation tactics. And in fact, he said in his own words, if I don't go huge, then I can't pull back. Yeah. So that's what we've seen, and faster than expected is, I think we've seen since day one, the number of actions he's commanded, not necessarily been able to deliver on, but he's commanded to execute, have been enormous.
I mean, his supporters will say he's done what he said he was going to do. We just heard the clip. That's what got him elected. That's democracy, isn't it?
It's what got him elected, yes. I mean, the question is whether he's delivering really what voters wanted to see in their own lives. So, for example, take an issue like immigration. Clearly, voters said, the system wasn't working, and there was a tremendous amount of support for border security to be increased. And it was quite open about their plan to, launch mass deportations. Even that apparently was, voted and supported by an overwhelming percentage of Americans. But we're now talking about this border force turning into an immigration deportation force that is essentially a police state. And citizens are pushing back on that. That's not the future that they intended when they voted for a tighter border. So the question is really, do Americans like the direction this is going in terms of, having to present your papers on the papers on the street, unchecked and untrained, extensive border and police forces. And the same thing if you look at his economic agenda. They wanted him to take action immediately. He did launch actions immediately, but he has not succeeded in bringing down energy prices. He has not succeeded in bringing down the real economic pain issues like grocery prices that Americans are feeling every day.
So from a domestic point of view, I mean, do you think Trump supporters, those avid supporters, are wavering at all, or are they still fully behind him? And what about those people who were sitting on the fence? Has the sort of tipping point already been passed for them?
Well, politically, I think we'll see whether his coalition that he puts together, which is not just MAGA voters, and whether that coalition holds throughout the year. In one measurement will be the midterms, whether some Republicans seats or more Republican seats are lost than anticipated, the midterm elections in Congress. But we're way too early on that. I think you'll see fractures within analysis of every fracture within the Republican Party. Big players like Marjorie Taylor Greene have stood up and said, you're not delivering on health care, and you're not delivering, and these affordability, cost of living issues, I think, are going to be the breaking point. But there's a lot of time for that to play out in the year, because you have to go through the Republican primary schedule first.
Yeah.
And that's where President Trump can play off his supporters and attack those that aren't loyal to his position. This is still all about loyalty.
What about foreign policy? Ukraine, obviously, the war still continuing. A lot of criticism of Trump for siding with Vladimir Putin. We've got the Greenland issue as well. How is the Trump presidency, if you like, going down, would you say, on the international scale?
Well, the Ukraine solution wasn't as easy to accomplish in 24 hours as he thought it was going to be. But that doesn't mean, he has been able to succeed at any other topic that he's taken on as well. Foreign policy is both what you set out your agenda to be and reacting to world events. He has, of course, had a number of issues like Iran that's come up recently that he's just had to respond to. And what's been surprising is that he is willing to respond with more use of military force than he talked about. His voters, he kept promising his voters no more American military intervention, no more forever wars. He does seem to be holding to his orientation of no more nation building. And he does seem to be holding to his orientation of pulling America back from the entire globalist international order, as they refer to it. We refer to it as international order, but they're talking about it as a globalist architecture. And so they're pulling back on all of that. Now, whether his foreign policy objectives that came out in the national security strategy of really cementing America's future in a new world order based on a successful follow-through with their agenda in Venezuela, based on successfully advancing their interests across Europe, which, all of that can get burned away if he wants to go deep on Greenland. So long-term objectives remain to be seen. And short-term, it's very easy to look and say, it's interesting that all these foreign policy things are spinning up when it's been very successful to change the debate away from Epstein and other domestic tensions.
Yeah, I mean, do you think he can carry on the way he has been going on? I mean, it's been a year, so many different issues, so many upendings of the cart, if you like. A lot of criticism as well for noticeably getting older, even starting to fall asleep in some meetings. He's got another 3 years to go, hasn't he?
Well, I hesitate to predict where his health is, the direction his health is going, because, excuse me, he continues to surprise us. He's a Teflon president. He just sticks around. But yeah, I think he can keep going at this pace. He is actually a master of some of the things we underestimate, as much as we try to say that there's no thinking behind, a number of these policy announcements. If we forget, he is kind of a master at production. He comes from a world of, producing in television, producing, imagery, and he's very good at keeping a rhythm behind the chaos in order to achieve his objectives. And that may mean taking a new action every day. That may mean making a new, public announcement. And I think they've set up a system now within the government that can work in that manner. They set a broad architecture for a theme, and then he can go out to the press and pivot it a little bit either way, and the system can, pull back and implement. And he's restaffed the entire federal government. That's a topic for another time, but in a way, he's built his own new deep state. So he has the system, he has the architecture, and he's really good at reading how to deliver a message and keep people's attention, even if it's just for the moment.
Clock's just turned, of course, beginning of 2026. Towards the end of 2026, you mentioned it, midterm elections, that's going to be really crucial, isn't it? Because if his support base folds at that point, he's going to be in difficulty.
I don't think he'll be hugely in difficulty, because he has consolidated so much under executive power. First of all, he has the right to take a number of these actions by executive order. But he has consolidated the entire system, as I just mentioned, and he's strengthened just the willpower to go forward, make an action, and see if the courts can pull him back. So even if the
Republicans be worried, though? I mean, if he's lost that support, I mean, they've got to think as well about what comes after Donald Trump.
Well, I was going to say the Congress, per se, as a branch, might not be able to pull him back from a lot. The Republicans, they don't yet know themselves what 2028 looks like. And there's been plenty of indication that the political teams around Trump are very much thinking how to build a legacy that will continue even after he leaves office. So expect more of the same, even though we may see more fissures and more splits. I expect more of the same, at least in the year or two ahead.
Okay, we shall see how it all pans out. Laurie, thanks very much for coming in and talking to us once again. Laurie Dundon there on the programme, US domestic politics and US foreign policy specialist. Thanks very much.